Yeah, I mean, I really can't say I was surprised. I know that there was always that school of thought that Ray Anderson might want to leave before the notice of allegations that concludes the NCAA investigation would come out, because obviously it was going to be a legal brief that wasn't going to make him look good by any means. He pretty much pushed all his chips to the middle of the table when he did hire Herm Edwards. On the field, definitely was not a success. Off the field, you have to say mitigated disaster with an NCAA investigation that is still going on as we speak, and results and consequences that are really going to affect this program for the first 2-3 years of the Kenny Dillingham era, obviously affecting a staff and the players that really had nothing to do with those recruiting allegations. So I think that's one factor to keep in mind. But I think another important factor to keep in mind is the NIL. The NIL coffers at ASU are at a very low amount, definitely compared to their not only current Pac-12 foes, but probably a lot of their Big 12 foes starting next year. And Kenny Dillingham made no bones about it in a press conference just in the last hour, where he said that in the next month, those NIL treasure chests have to expand and have to be at a higher level than they are right now to help them recruiting. Maybe pull more of the transfer portal rather than high school kids, but nonetheless, it's not an even playing field when it comes to NIL, and you're really trying to close the gaps as much as you can. A lot of boosters made it known that as long as Ray Anderson is the athletic director at Arizona State, they're not going to contribute to the NIL coffers. So I think that is something that really resonated with Arizona State President Dr. Michael Crow, that a move had to be made, and this amicable parting of the ways did take place.
Well, I mean, that seems like almost the bigger thing. Obviously, the NCAA investigation and kind of being in the crosshairs there has been going on for a long time, but he fractured a fan base drastically. I mean, for an athletic director to do that and have prominent boosters say, yeah, you won't get a dime of my money until he's out of here. You don't see that all too often in college sports. And it seemed to have a disdain for the fan base. When they would give it to him, he'd give it right back. I mean, that was a very interesting and toxic dynamic for a long time, right?
Yeah, and I definitely think that Ray Anderson, and I don't care, whether you're a big proponent of Anderson or not, you can objectively say that when you hired somebody like Herm Edwards, which did not produce a win and loss record anywhere to the standards that Ray Anderson himself established, and the cherry on the not so great cake is having an ongoing NCAA investigation, which absolutely decimated the program, is definitely a combination that was not going to endear him to any ASU fan. You have on the lower end, if you will, just fans booing him in games, maybe heckling him, and you have on the higher end, as I mentioned, boosters that absolutely refuse to give one red penny to the program, to the NIL coffers, as long as Ray Anderson is here. That's just absolutely an element that Michael Crow and the university leadership just could not ignore. And they just knew that Ray Anderson is just toxic to the entire athletic department and specifically to the football program. Now that you're going to a Big 12 conference, which could be more challenging than the current Pac-12 one, a change had to be made. And I think just having that clean break of just really turning the page with the athletic department now being in a new conference, I think maybe the timing of that also contributed to Ray Anderson no longer being an athletic director. He is going to remain a professor in the sports and law program at Arizona State, so maybe it's not as clean of a break as some people would like it to be, but nonetheless, him not calling the shots at the athletic department, and again, just his departure actually bringing in more boosters and more money to the NIL treasure chest at Arizona State. Those are just factors that could not be ignored, and you could not have Ray Anderson to keep it be employed a year or 2 or 3 down the line just because of those very significant elements in place.
Michael Crow was loyal to Ray, a lot would say to a fault. What is your confidence level, though, that Michael Crow's all of a sudden going to get it? Like, what college sports needs in this day and age? You know what I mean? With NIL and everything else. Yeah, Crow's been great on the academia side. I don't think anyone can deny that. But on the athletics side, I mean, it's been a disaster. And you can blame it on Ray, but ultimately it's a meddling university president, right? Like, what's your confidence level?
Yeah, I think my confidence level is low, and I think it's a sentiment that's really shared among the ASU fan base, because when you look at the various athletic directors that Michael Crow has hired during his tenure, you definitely don't have a shining lineage of very successful athletic directors that really took this ASU athletic department to new heights. The hire of Kenny Dillingham was really driven more by the boosters rather than Michael Crow or Ray Anderson really wanting Kenny Dillingham in place over here. I'm suspecting that those boosters are not just going to call it a day, if you will, and say, okay, Ray Anderson is not here. Whatever athletic director you hire, we're going to be okay with it. They definitely want to have a say with this, and I won't be surprised if they will have a say in this. And again, that goes back to really just the low level of confidence that the fans do have with Michael Crow. I mean, a lot of folks said that once Herm Edwards and Arizona State parted ways, that Ray Anderson really should have followed suit. Michael Crow, for whatever reason, did not do that. So I think that this is not any kind of bias or just a fan base being irrational. I think they're just really looking at the actions, and more importantly, the inactions that took place by Ray Anderson, by Michael Crow, to really have low confidence in the hirings and just how the athletic department is being managed. So no, I don't think the confidence level in Crow is high by any means, and I wouldn't be surprised that just like the Kenny Dillingham hire was really driven by the boosters, that the athletic director hire will really follow the same path.